In the shadow of New York, in the soccer heartbeat of New Jersey, the U.S. national team this evening is at a major inflection point. They began qualifying horrendously, including a bad loss in Costa Rica. And tonight, as the team has found its footing, it's the rematch. But to stay on the road to Russia, there is only one acceptable result. March towards 3 points tonight against the bitter rival from Costa Rica. This first night of September brings the U.S. national team to a must-win match in the presumably friendly, cozy den of Red Bull Arena. USA and Costa Rica in the simple, brutal math of the hex, that six-team final qualifying group. The United States tonight can climb over Costa Rica to the qualifying scramble. The top three teams will go. The fourth go to a playoff. And the United States, after that bad start, right now sitting in third place. And welcome to Harrison, New Jersey. I'm Bob Lee. With me, Casey Keller, Hercules Gomez. The weather is perfect. There is no snow, we don't believe, in the forecast. Perfect weather, perfect anticipation. It's one of those moments. Where else would you rather be, Casey? At a fork in the road for the U.S. national team. Well, after a slow start, the U.S. has kind of dug themselves out of a hole. But then you come to a match like this against a very difficult opponent in Costa Rica. A game where, when you win your home games in World Cup qualifying, you go to the World Cup. This is one of those matches that if you don't get all 3 points, things get a lot more difficult for you, and you got to start winning away games, which is never easy. Well, of course, the game in Costa Rica cost Jurgen Klinsmann his position as manager of the team. Bruce Arena unbeaten in 14 matches. What has been the difference that you've observed then to now?
A tactical understanding under Jurgen Klinsmann, especially that last game versus Costa Rica and San Jose. The players lacked that DNA. The team lacked that DNA. They oftentimes looked lost. They didn't know their responsibilities. They were looking for that guidance. They didn't have it. Under Bruce Arena, that's not the case. Each and every single player knows their role, and they're playing as a unified front.
Where's the United States in this qualifying schedule? They have the game tonight. Then they're on the road down to San Pedro Sula, Honduras, for Tuesday's match. A very difficult environment and a very hostile environment. Tall grass, a lot of heat. Then next month, it's possible, should they win tonight, the United States, they might possibly qualify against Panama. That game on ESPN in Orlando. They close out on the road against Trinidad and Tobago. All eyes, all American soccer hearts following the progress of an 18-year-old grizzled professional by the name of Christian Pulisic, who has burst upon American soccer expectations and is getting it done with Dortmund.
This is one of those guys that you throw the age out the window. He has so much composure, well above his years. This is a kid that has the talent to lead this team, to be able to break down defenses, to be able to be that X factor that can truly make a difference.
Tim Ream will get a start in central defense tonight. He'll team with Jeff Cameron for only the second time. He got there because of a great match at Azteca against Mexico.
Well, I was surprised that he got the start in Azteca. I was pleasantly surprised by his performance. He certainly deserves the start. Everybody thought it might have been Beasler or Omar Gonzalez. Tim Ream today gets the opportunity of his life to cement himself in the starting 11 going forward to Russia.
Let's take a look at the starting 11 for the United States. Ream in that central defensive position. We said with Jeff Cameron, who is a fixture for Stoke City in the EPL. Tim Howard in goal. That's the backline. Graham Zusi fitting right in at the outside back position.
Well, yeah, you got Zusi and Villafana, the two outside backs. This is a big test for those two individuals tonight.
You got Christian Pulisic, one of the most, if not the most electrifying player in all of CONCACAF, leading the way in the midfield.
What's missing here? The name Clint Dempsey.
Yeah, wealth of options for Bruce Arena tonight up front. Clint Dempsey's the odd man out. Is he the new super sub for the U.S. national
I'd
team?
love to see an angry Clint Dempsey come off the bench. I can't wait.
Well, 5 weeks ago in the Gold Cup semifinal, he came off the bench and decided the match. If Costa Rica is going to score tonight, and they'll be happy to leave with 1 point, it'll go through Brian Ruiz, 32-year-old world-class player. Ruiz had a couple of goals in Brazil. He is the danger man.
He is the danger man. He's the smartest player they have. He is the heartbeat and pulse of this Costa Rican side. They're going to come here and sit and make it very difficult. But when they exploit on the break, it's through this man, this number 10.
And they've got a world-class keeper, and you know about that case. A man who's got a pair of Champions League winning medals with Real Madrid.
Yeah, there's no question that Keylor Navas is one of those leaders at the back for a team that loves to defend. They love to make it difficult for teams to score goals against. This is a team that is coming to New Jersey with a point, and they're going to do everything they can to leave New Jersey with a point. If you don't beat Keylor Navas, that point goes back to Costa Rica.
There's the starting 11. Ruiz, Ureña, Bolaños did not play in the Gold Cup semifinal when the United States had that late convincing victory 2-0.
And you see it's going to be more of a five-man back line. As Casey said, they're going to come here with the idea of defending, absorbing pressure, making it very difficult and countering. This is a very capable side.
I mentioned there was no snow in the forecast. Why did Bob say that? This rivalry is radioactively red hot between these nations. Think back to Colorado, March of 2013. Kirk, you played in Snow Classico.
I'm getting cold, I'm getting chills just thinking about this game. We're just looking at these seats. Look at that. It was one of the coldest days that I could remember. We were very lucky to get that win. Crazy game. Unbelievable atmosphere.
It's so much anger on the part of the Costa Rican side about the fact that the game was played. The return match, Casey, down in San Jose, Costa Rica, 5 months later, 3-1 win for Costa Rica. They pinned the United States ears back.
And let's be honest, Bob, going down to Costa Rica has always been an extremely difficult place for the U.S. to play. No different on this occasion.
And the dive there that got Beasler.
Yeah, and these are those little things that obviously when you're now looking at video replay and stuff can come out of the game, but it was so unfair to Matt Beasler.
And then last November, the match that essentially did directly lead to the change of managers. 4-0 loss for the USA. Jurgen Klinsmann's last goal as manager.
Exhibit A of a lack of tactical understanding in this game. The players are going to have redemption tonight. Players oftentimes in this game look lost. Joel Campbell, who's not available tonight, oftentimes find themselves isolated with the center backs. Hopefully will not be the case tonight. I look for a much more organized U.S. men's national team.
You may be able to tell from the din here, there's a lot of emotion at play. Ian Dark Taylor, Twelman, there is so much in the atmosphere beyond what's being played on the pitch when these teams meet as they will tonight.
Yeah, there really is. This fixture's got a history. I can't still believe that match in the snow ever actually finished. But another
You just thought out. What are you talking about?
I'm just listening to the crowd here, Taylor. There's a big Costa Rican community in this area. A lot of surprise the game was actually assigned to this venue. So we'll see how that plays out. One thing I'm a bit concerned about, no Clint Dempsey in the starting lineup. Horses for courses. He scored in his last 4 against Costa Rica.
I understand it, especially after the performance in the Gold Cup semifinal in July where he provided the difference with a goal and assist off the bench. I think to maximize Clint Dempsey at the international level, he's better suited as a super sub. But I want to go back into that game in July as the subject of my Continental Tire Analyst Corner because there's a couple things tactically the United States will try to do, and most of it falls on the partnership of Bobby Wood and Josie Altidore. First 15-20 minutes, putting Costa Rica under pressure with their movement, playing off of each other, and ultimately Bobby Wood vertically stretching the game. But it's when the game slows down, you've got to find a way to break down Costa Rica. You've got to play between the lines. You've got to get into those vulnerable areas where the defenders have to make decisions. If Bobby Wood and Josie Altidore are on the same page and one's dropping into the midfield and one is stretching the back line, well then the 5 defenders of Costa Rica, they're chasing the game. This is what you want because your most dangerous player on the field tonight in the opening whistle is Christian Pulisic, and when you get Costa Rica to separate that back line, Pulisic can expose them. I think Bobby Wood tonight has to be massive in order for Christian Pulisic and that midfield of the United States to find some space and have their way.
Yep, I think you're right, Taylor. Call it what you like. Flair, invention, magic. The USA are going to need that to break down a Costa Rica side who, remember, got to the quarterfinals of the last World Cup. Back to you, Bob.
And they played so very well down in Brazil. So much at stake this evening with the match in Honduras coming up on Tuesday for the United States. We'll kick at 6:55 Eastern Time. The promise of Christian Pulisic, the experience off the bench of Clint Dempsey, and the leadership of the captain, Michael Bradley, all on display tonight.
Saints Vikings at 6:55. Chargers Broncos at 10:15. September 11th on ESPN.
Back in Harrison, we remind you it's all on the app, the ESPN app. Take us everywhere tonight. Of course, the game is streaming. We'll also have a tactical camera, the All-22, and a star cam. And I can guarantee you at times that star cam will be watching the U.S. captain Michael Bradley, who a few moments ago spoke with Julie Stewart-Binks.
Thank you so much, Michael. In this pivotal World Cup qualifying match, where does Costa Rica pose the greatest threat?
Yeah, they're a good team, organized, find the right ways to get numbers behind the ball, and then when they win balls, they have some attacking players that can cause real trouble. So we'll have to be sharp and at our best, and keeping track of guys even when we have the ball.
After dealing with injury, Fabian Johnson makes his way back into the starting 11. What's unique about his contribution?
He's a good soccer player, smart, easy to play with, makes guys around him better. So we're happy to have him back.
Thanks so much, Michael.
Okay.
All right, let's send things over to Sebastian Salazar for a report on Costa Rica.
Thank you very much, Julie. Look, if it's been a banner summer for Michael Bradley, the opposite can be said for the Costa Rican captain, Brian Ruiz. He's fallen out of favor with his club team in Portugal, Sporting, and he was holding his cell phone all day yesterday, wondering if he'd get a deal done to move just before the transfer deadline. I asked him, is this going to distract you? He said, look, when it comes to playing for the national team, there are no excuses. And Ruiz is kind of the face of a much more aggressive posture from Costa Rica. Let's be honest, teams in CONCACAF are usually very happy to go on the road and settle for a tie. But the last thing he said, Ruiz, in his press conference yesterday was, créenme, mañana vamos por 3 puntos. Believe me, tomorrow we are going for the 3 points. I think it'll be a much more assertive Costa Rica, Bob, than we saw throughout the Gold Cup, and that should make for a very entertaining match.
Oh, that would be a dagger, Sebastian, were it to happen. So you have a sense of the stakes. It's huge. It's loud. It's the Hex. We kick it next.
Play the #1 fantasy football game. Sign up now at ESPN.com/GoodFantasy.
Look at the faces, look in the eyes. You can see the tension of a home qualifier after a bad start with a chance tonight. It's a Panamanian officiating crew. A chance for the United States to get 3 points. And this is the first World Cup qualifier, Stacey. This is a soccer hotbed. Harrison, New Jersey, northern New Jersey, the metro area here in New York City. First time I've ever had one here.
There's a lot of Costa Ricans in this crowd. I'm a little surprised that it's the numbers that it are. But look, take that away from anything. Look, the U.S. team knows what they're up against. This is a game where you have to come out and want it significantly more than your opponent. Now that sounds cliche, right? Of course you're going to come into a World Cup qualifier at home and want it more than your opponent. But down in Costa Rica, you saw what it meant to Costa Rica. It meant so much more to the U.S. team. That has to change tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of Costa Rica.
The attempts to limit ticket sales to primarily American fans, I think, mixed success. Only 1,300 tickets to general public sales, but the ingenuity and the passion of the Costa Ricans, they are here tonight, and now a large-scale Old Glory. And the U.S. anthem will be sung by Avery Wilson on a beautiful September evening in New Jersey.
Please welcome RCA recording artist, singer-songwriter Avery Wilson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rock aloud, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The passion and the drama about to unfold. The Costa Ricans come in confident they can escape with 3 points. The United States knowing essentially hurt, they've got to get their 3.
They've got to get their 3, and they've got to do it in convincing fashion, convincing manner. This Costa Rican side to be compact, defensively absorb those pressure. You got to find a way to break them down.
We know the stakes, we know the players, we know the atmosphere. 90 minutes of truth await. Ian Dark, Taylor Twellman, what an atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere. Thank you and good evening, everybody. The draw for next year's World Cup takes place in the Kremlin 3 months today. The US need to be there. Tonight is a vital stop-off point on that mission. The qualifying show brought to the New York area for the first time, and the US coach Bruce Arena here, a Long Island native and a former coach of the Red Bulls, knows it all very well. Here's the team that he's picked today. No Clint Dempsey is a headline in the starting lineup, despite the fact that he scored in his last 4 games against Costa Rica. That entire back line is a change from the 4-0 loss in Costa Rica.
And I think the game will be won in wide areas. So how does Jorge Villafani and Graham Zusi deal with the organized chaos of Costa Rica on the counter? Keep an eye on that tonight.
The officials are from Panama. John Pitti is the referee. The first time he's handled a US match. There is the coach of Costa Rica, Oscar Ramirez, who scored against the USA as a player way back in 1985. That was the same year, by the way, that Costa Rica last won a World Cup qualifier in the USA. This is their lineup. 2 of those players have over 100 caps. The playmaker Ruiz and Borges, who didn't play in the Gold Cup, he's back here. Guzman, Bolaños, Calvo, and Ureña all play in Major League Soccer.
And the key there is Borges and Guzman. They have to be very crucial, not only in possession, but chasing the game. Guzman doesn't want to get caught chasing his Portland Timbers teammate, Darlington Nagbe, for 90 minutes.
It's quite a scene here, as you've seen, and, well, they tried to make sure this really did feel like a home match for the USA, being played in an area of the biggest Costa Rican community in the whole of the United States. Did that work?
I'm not sure about that. I think U.S. Soccer will be shocked at how many Costa Ricans are here at Red Bull Arena tonight.
The US, who've rather rescued things after losing the first 2 games for the first time ever in the Hex, the final round of qualifying, beaten at home by Mexico, and then the shocking 4-0 loss at Costa Rica, which cost Jurgen Klinsmann his job. Since then, Bruce Arena unbeaten in 14 games since taking charge, and that's lifted the USA into the top 3, which is where you need to be to get to the World Cup. 4 games left to play. Waston, the big defender, and Brian Ruiz, the captain, and very much the torchbearer for Costa Rica with an early touch. It's interesting to hear there Sebastian Salazar's pre-match report with Ruiz saying we're going for the 3 points. I think that's a smokescreen.
I think so as well. I think they want to be very compact and make it very difficult for Michael Darlington Nagbe, to play through those seams and play between the lines. I think for the first 15-20, the United States have to play a little bit more direct.
Wood trying to find the 18-year-old Pulisic and give him an early touch. Tim Ream back on his old stamping ground there, the central defender. He's a big selection tonight. Altidore with a nice dummy, and then Wood's ball back to him had too much weight on it. Gamboa's clearance, charged down. And the first touch of the ball for the great Keylor Navas, Real Madrid's Champions League winning goalkeeper. He'll take some beating. Zusi won the header for the US. It's going to take some flair and invention, maybe a bit of magic from the US to maybe break down this Costa Rican side who at the last World Cup in 8.5 hours of football only letting 1 goal from open play. They're well placed to qualify for Russia as well. 3 points ahead of the US at the moment, in 2nd place in the group, with the US 3rd. Stakes are high, Taylor.
Yeah, but that's the way you want it. This is what it's all about, and this is easily the most important and the most crucial World Cup qualifier since the United States lost to Mexico in Columbus of November of last year.
Is Bradley playing deep as the anchor man in that midfield. Nagbe, not sure he wanted it there, but he got it anyway. Could have ended up in trouble, but to be fair, he got out of it. Good ball down the line. Played in towards Pulisic. Calvo was quickly on the scene.
That's a good look, though, from Tim Ream. Big stakes, big question. Who would play next to Jeff Cameron tonight? Tim Ream here, back at home a little bit, playing in Red Bull Arena. Good early touch, good pass forward to Fabian Johnson. And there are times tonight, Ian, where Tim Ream's going to have to step into the midfield like this and take some pressure off of Michael Bradley and allow Darlington Nagbe to then go find the game. Maybe it has to be in wide areas because it's so congested in the middle, but Jeff Cameron and Tim Ream vital in possession tonight.
Altidore back to Pulisic, who's a nerveless character for an 18-year-old. Doesn't seem to feel the pressure. Plays in front of 80,000 every week at Borussia Dortmund. Zusi's ball in. Bradley picks it up. What the US would give for an early goal, which would change the whole dynamic. Nagbe's down injured.
Well, we talked about 2 teammates going after each other tonight. And listen, part of the, I think, the criticism of Guzman in his time with the Portland Timbers is he can get out of sorts. He can get after games, late challenge here on his teammate Darlington Nagbe. But that's what I think, if you're the United States and you're Darlington Nagbe, do you want to get Guzman chasing the game? That way it opens up the seam to play the ball into the feet of Josie Altidore and Bobby Wood.
I'll tell you what, Taylor, that was a horrible challenge.
And a late one as well.
On his Portland Timbers teammate there. And it might have faced a far greater penalty, I think, had the referee seen what you just saw at home. Maybe Guzman was lucky that it came early in the piece. Villafania with the header on. Altidore to pick it up, playing a little bit deep at the moment. Out on towards Bobby Wood. Nagby seems to be okay after that fairly horrible challenge on him. All club friendships forgotten here in the race for World Cup points. Pulisic, a rather nervy touch. Bolaños, this is Oviedo, the Sunderland defender.
Oh, that's a good spot though from Bobby Wood. See, the key tonight, Ian, is that when the United States does have a good stretch of possession, when they lose that possession, that's what Costa Rica wants to kill you and get out on the counter. So the closest person to that ball has to immediately react, put pressure on that ball. That's well done from Bobby Wood coming in late.
Calvo with the clearance. He's one of those who did play in the Gold Cup just a few weeks ago, really, when the US won 2-0 against this opposition in the semi-finals. They also beat Costa Rica at home in the Copa America last year, but this is a different thing again. Mistake by Reed. Urania pounced on the ball. Bolaños is in here. Back to Urania again, and this time Villafana gets it away, but Tim Ream will be mighty glad that that was patched up in the end. There goes the cross. And the header down was by Borges.
Well, and Tim Ream is begging for communication here, but with this environment and the circumstances around him, Tim Ream cannot be careless in possession in that moment. That's exactly what Marco Urania wants to do tonight. Put the two center backs under pressure, run the channels, when in doubt, especially early on in the game. And you can see the angst on Bruce Arena's face immediately when that ball turns over. There's no worries whatsoever if Tim Ream dumps it in the corner and has Josie Altidore and Bobby Wood run onto it.
Well, it'll bring back a nightmare, really, for Tim Ream when he played here against Ecuador. It was 0-0. He was brought on to give him a few minutes on his home ground, gave away the goal and never played for the US again for 3 years. He must have thought it was the end of his career. He's back in here now. This is Brian Oviedo. He's a classy left wing back. This position suits him well. The system they play. Borges, an important midfield presence for Costa Rica. As you see with the challenge, he thought that came off the Costa Rican player last. Bolaños. Oviedo. It's a good-looking cross. Villafana. Not the greatest header, but Tim Howard can claim it in the end. One or two signs of early nerves in the US defence. Classy piece of play by Fabian Johnson. Here's Pulisic. He's already played more games at this age than any player in US history. Still not 19, that comes up in a couple of weeks' time. Ream. Jeff Cameron has now got over 150 appearances in the English Premier League with Stoke City. His experience vital back there, you feel. Bobby Wood. Pulisic. Skip past one that comes, but not two. Free kicks given, though, for the initial challenge on him.
This is just so good from Bobby Wood, though, because not only does he use his body perfectly, but he also allows the space for Pulisic to run underneath him. And that's what you want from Christian Pulisic tonight. When you're going up against a Costa Rican defense that's going to clog up the middle, you want your best player, your most dangerous player, to take chances. If he wants to come inside for a layoff, come outside, maybe play as that underneath second or third forward. Good combination play there early on from Bobby Wood and Christian Pulisic.
Zusi of Sporting Kansas City in charge of the Set pieces now converted to a right back full time.
Keep an eye on Josie Altidore on that back post. 5 straight games under Bruce Arena, the United States have scored on a set piece.
Suggests they're working a little harder at them. Zusi's ball in. The delivery has to be right. It has come out here to Altidore. His ball back in towards Ream.
I think a little surprising that you didn't see Michael Bradley take that set piece, as we've seen him deliver some great ball in as of late, but Graham Zusi leads all MLS defenders on chances created. Now you get Michael Bradley as another set piece target.
He's got Bolaños playing against him tonight, Zusi, which might just keep him honest in terms of getting forward more. Wood, who started in very lively fashion. Calvo gets in a good challenge. Altidore saying, I think that's a corner, isn't it? But the referee's decreed otherwise.
I think the assistant referee on the near side actually called offside, Ian.
And that would have been it, yeah. Late flag. What an atmosphere here. 26,500 tickets all sold. Great demand as the World Cup comes to the Big Apple, as it were. We're a few miles from it anyway. Oviedo. Borges, over 100 caps. Glad to have him in that midfield. Gamboa with the run. Can't get a game for Celtic in Scotland at the moment, but he's in his national side. Enjoying it, but there are quite a lot of Costa Rican flags in there. We saw that when the national anthem was played. Wood with the flick on. Serena anxious to play 2 up against this, well, probably mass defence at times of Costa Rica, but they've come out to play a fair bit early on here. Bolaños, Oviedo, Ureña waiting in the middle. Never got to him. Pulisic. Skipped away easily from Ruiz.
That's got to be a yellow.
Yeah.
He should have been carded on the first challenge on Nagbe.
Guzman in the book.
How good is this from Christian Pulisic, though? So much of the analysts around him is saying, you know what? He's good in the final third, but he's also good in possession. 1, 2, 3 defenders from Costa Rica coming over, taking him on, composure under pressure. He just gets defenders wrong-footed so often, Ian. That is big time from Christian Pulisic as the United States were under some pressure.
Pulisic, who scored both the goals in the win over Trinidad and Tobago. That was the last home game. After that, the US changed the formation and a lot of the personnel. Michael Bradley scored a great goal early on, and they got a point away to Mexico. The road to Russia is still very much open. Remember, the US have qualified for the last 7 World Cups since 1990. Best showing, quarterfinals under Bruce Arena, 2002. Francisco Calvo. Guzman will have to watch his step from now on. The US will be aware that he's on a yellow card as well. Johnson played it inside to Nagbe. We've seen once or twice already is Costa Rica being prepared to high press the US defense. Brian Oviedo. Bolaños. Oviedo looking to get in behind Zusi. He's very alive to the danger.
And this is part of the maturation of Graham Zusi at right back. There's been some bumps in the road of learning that position, but I think over the last 4 or 5 weeks for Sporting Kansas City, he's been right on the mark with his positioning and understanding of when to go forward and when to defend.
Lovely ball from Bolaños there. Guzman picked it up. Borges with the attempted volley. US getting the block in. And now the break's on with Pulisic. He needs more support. Altidor's on the far side away from him. Bobby Wood keeps the attack going. Darlington Nagbe. Josie Altidor. Back in again. Pulisic brings it down on his chest. Oh, and then the finish was disappointing. It was not one thing or the other. He knows it.
But this is how you're going to get Costa Rica unsettled, and it's got to come from a dangerous ball out of pressure. That comes from Fabian Johnson. This is what you want. You want Pulisic, Bobby Wood, Josie Altidor, Nagbe behind him in open space. But that counter doesn't come to fruition if Fabian Johnson doesn't find that perfect ball to Pulisic on the break.
Keylor Navas just using his experience just to calm things down a little bit. The goalkeeper, who was voted 3 times man of the match in Costa Rica's run to the quarterfinals in Brazil. Borges with the little flick on. Again, very sharp from Bobby Wood. Lovely piece of play by him. Villafaña towards Altidor. Really away by Oviedo. Morena, his first touch was good. Good pressure on him though, good pressure on the ball from the US to get it back quickly. Pulisic, maybe significantly, in Landon Donovan's old number 10 shirt. Could be around the US team for the next 15 years. Cameron with a terribly loose ball in the middle of the pitch to Ruiz, of all people. Costa Ricans didn't really take advantage of that by breaking quickly. Here's Guzman. It's his first start in the Hex. Guzman in the midfield. They usually play as Ofefa in there. Usually comes on as a sub. To play it wide. Costa. Ruiz again. It's for Sporting Lisbon, though he was hoping for a deadline day move. Calvo looks to spread it wide for Gamboa. This could get edgy. But we kind of knew that beforehand, didn't we?
Well, this is the DNA of Costa Rica. They want to get through the first 20 minutes on the road, take this game 0-0 as far as they can. You mentioned their World Cup run in 2014. That's exactly how they did it. But I think the United States, okay, you didn't get the early goal that you wanted to. But now when you do have these spells of possession, you have to be patient. But then you also have to be a threat with that final ball. We've seen a couple sloppy passes from Jeff Cameron and Tim Ream. Keep possession, make Costa Rica chase the game, and allow your special players to get in the seams and in the holes for Bobby Wood over the top.
Lovely ball from Bradley to Bobby Wood, who's got him behind Calvo. And then just couldn't play Pulisic in. Too heavy, the touch. Beautifully set up that by the skipper, Bradley. Oviedo knew where the space was. Borges. Ureña's movement up there is good. He's got the 2 central defenders just wondering where he's got to at times.
Well, he's also relentless. That's the one thing I've seen with his time at San Jose, is that he's relentless looking for the space. He'll run the channels. He's not great with his hold-up play, and he's not a clinical finisher. But Ian, if you're looking for what, 55, 60 minutes from someone to pressure the 2 center backs, Ureña's going to do that task tonight.
As you see, there's that high pressure again from the left wing back, Oviedo, who had his moments in an Everton shirt, including scoring a winner at Old Trafford. Altidore pulling into wide areas at times, especially on that left side. To link up with Fabian Johnson, who's only just returned from injury just recently. Nagbe, good penetrative run from him, and still Nagbe couldn't quite turn inside to get the shot away. Still bouncing around dangerously. Bradley from distance, but well wide of the post.
Well, and part of the dilemma when you assess Darlington Nagbe is always wanting more in the final third, but at times you miss the little things. These are the little things. You cannot get the ball from Darlington Nagbe in tight spots. You love that run forward. Obviously, the final play wasn't there, but those are the little things that has every U.S. soccer coach in Major League Soccer and on this staff foaming at the mouth when they're watching Darlington Nagbe.
That was a great run from him. And it's why Bruce Arena has put him in the starting lineup more often than not when it's mattered. Did have a little bit of a falling out with the previous coach, Jürgen Klinsmann, after not responding to the call for one squad for personal reasons. Up towards Bolaños, is a tricky customer, getting to the veteran stage now, and that was an important cutout from Villafana because Ruiz was breaking in behind. Gamboa is Burgess again. Lovely ball towards Ureña, just enough pressure from Zusi, did his job well.
That's a great play from Graham Zusi. That's the recognition you need as a right back, because obviously he's looking right across the line, and that run is in behind Jeff Cameron. It's well done.
It's a good contest, this, between two of the big hitters of the CONCACAF region, and I think Costa Rica, after their performance in 2014, certainly deserve that accolade. They've done well in one or two other World Cups as well, notably 1990 when they beat Sweden and Scotland in their debut. Now then, Ruiz. Oviedo's got a fair bit of room to work in here. Well, it's sat for the volley, and he got the volley wrong.
And I still think one of the question marks for this United States team is the left back position against quality opponents. Brian Ruiz is a great example of a quality opponent, and Villafana gets caught too high up the field. That's just a quality run from Brian Ruiz on the counter. And immediately after that play, Tim Ream, Villafana having a conversation. You cannot get caught sleeping when Brian Ruiz is on your side of the field.
And on the other side, at times Zusi is having to deal with both Oviedo and Bolaños as well. They've got to be careful there's not an overload down there. Costa Rica looking lively here. Gamboa cutting it back towards Bolaños. It's cut up by Jeff Cameron. Altidore surely fouled there by Waston, yet he was. Let's get a touchline report from Julie Stewart-Binks.
Ian, listening into Bruce Arena, he's been a bit frustrated with his back line, yelling to Jeff Cameron to find Darlington Nagbe, as well as Tim Ream to play more forward.
Thanks, Julie. Pulisic. Well found by Altidore. Waston's challenge. Altidore wants a penalty. The referee is not interested. Now it's Zusi to Wood. Lovely football from the US here. Villafana cutting it back, and Pulisic rather snatched at the chance. He just had a half-yard more room than he thought.
From the first look, this is a penalty, and the way you can tell is because Josie Altidore gets between the ball and the defender. You love the ball forward here to open up Pulisic from Graham Zusi, but look at the top of your screen. Josie Altidore gets it. That's a penalty. The left hand from Kendall Waston pulls the left shoulder of Josie Altidore. I'm sorry, that's a penalty.
But not given. By the referee, who's tended to just let things go a bit, starting with that horrible Guzman challenge early on Nagbe. The same player has been booked since, but maybe Costa Rica got away with one there. Red shirts all around the ball as Costa Rica hunt back possession. They won their first 2 games in this group. Away to Trinidad and Tobago, home to the US. It's gone off the boil a little since then, but very, very well placed to go to Russia. Great noise around this Red Bull Arena, just down the turnpike from New York City. Ruiz won the header. Altidore, there's some good work there against Waston. Altidore is in pretty good form with Toronto, who are storming through Major League Soccer this season. Guzman. Ruiz intercepted by Bradley. There's things on here if they get it right. Altidore! Altidore across the face of goal. Waston just about did enough to get it away. Oh, Villafana caught late there by Ureña. Well, it's 0-0, but there could have been goals at both ends, really. Loose ball again from Cameron. It's cut up by Calvo. Chance of USA rolling around this arena. They gave 4,000 of the tickets to the American Outlaws and a lot more to the two New York MLS clubs. Here's Darlington Nagbe. That's an automatic pick in recent months. Ream finds Bradley. Cameron always prepared to step out with the ball.
It's another sloppy pass though from Jeff Cameron when he steps into the midfield.
Determined run from Gamboa. Nagbe couldn't keep possession, which is not going to be quarried at times in that midfield.
Well, the one thing that has stood out 28 minutes in here, Ian, is that second ball's recoveries. Majority, if not all of them, have gone Costa Rica's way. So right now, Michael Bradley wants to get maybe Darlington Nagbe a little closer to him. And I also think that comes from communication from Jeff Cameron and Tim Ream in behind Michael Bradley.
Celso Burgess to Brian Ruiz. Brainy play. Ureña couldn't control it, and he was goal side. He was in there, and he controlled it.
Yeah, but see, this is the issue with Marco Ureña, because he's going to play off your back shoulder, and when you got a guy underneath you like Brian Ruiz that can play in those seams, that's a sloppy touch from Ureña. This is the pressure the United States wants from Michael Bradley, though. He can take chances and come forward, because then he has the quality to find Jozy Altidore. I like that from Michael Bradley, and I think he can make it a few more chances going forward with that pressure. Keylor Navas coming up with a big save.
Coming up to the half-hour mark. Still tight and tense. Nagbe again. This will give the little layoff to Michael Bradley, who's aiming to get to what would be his third World Cup. He scored at his first one in 2010. Great goal against Slovenia. Gamboa won the header. Ruiz. Ureña again getting between the central defenders. It's still Ureña. Costa Rica have the lead! Oh, it's a hammer blow for the USA! Marco Ureña of San Jose Earthquakes US 0, Costa Rica 1.
Well, if there was any question tonight of whether or not Costa Rica fans would show up, listen to the crowd now here in Harrison, New Jersey. This is the issue when you play Costa Rica, because Brian Ruiz has the quality with one look to open up the game. Marco Arena in the Gold Cup semifinal in July had one or two chances just like this, but Tim Howard came up with big saves. Today, in a big World Cup qualifier, he puts a massive away goal for Costa Rica on the road here at Red Bull Arena.
And that is the 5th goal Costa Rica have scored against the USA in this hex without reply. Bruce Arena's 14-game unbeaten run is under threat. You've got to say it, that was a class finish from Arena from a difficult angle. His movement's been great, and it's given the US central defenders a problem right from the word go for me. Here's Cameron again. How do the US respond to that? There's a bit of a haunted look on the face of Tim Ream after that goal went in, on one or two other American faces as well. There's plenty of time to patch up the damage. Ream with the chip. Altidore looking to break in behind. It was easily cut out by another MLS man in Kendall Waston. Zusi. Find Bobby Wood.
I'm going to go to the goal, and I'm going to be critical of Jeff Cameron and Tim Ream's spot here, because here's Jeff Cameron and here's Tim Ream. When that ball's played in the air from your goalkeeper, you both have to come in here to make sure you don't lose. But look at that space. It's one header, the ball turns. Ruiz has all the time in the world because Jeff Cameron didn't slide over. Tim Ream was too slow to react. And now Marco Arena's got Costa Rica up 1-0 on the road in the United States.
Yep, I think you could have driven 2 New York yellow cabs through that gap. And that's how the table would look. The way this game is set up, I tell you, if the US win it, they would be, well, 1 foot really in the World Cup finals. Lose it, and everything's up for grabs again.
And I know Bruce Arena, when he watches the tape, he will have a conversation with Jeff Cameron and Tim Ream, because that ball came forward from Tim Howard. So the spacing between your 2 center backs cannot be 30 to 35 yards. Give Costa Rica a ton of credit for exposing that on the counter.
It has to be said, it's been a very nervous opening half an hour from Cameron and Ruiz. Cameron goes for that ball. Ruiz tries to win it. Bolaños picks it up again. They've got some clever prompters in there. Borges is one of them. Ruiz is another. And you can see that Costa Rica fancy themselves here a bit. And it's Ruiz again. He has to play it wide. That's offside that time, but careless really from Ruiz. The road to Russia continues on Sunday with a Group A matchup between the Netherlands, who are in trouble. They have to win it at home to Bulgaria at the Amsterdam Arena. Coverage of this qualifier beginning at 11:50 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and streaming live on the ESPN app. The Netherlands didn't make the Euros and might not make the World Cup either. There's over 200 countries trying to get to the World Cup finals. Only 32 will. For Graham Zusi. Bradley forward. Costa Rica's confidence lifted. Calvo was quick there to break it up. You've just got to maybe just sit in a little bit in this period of the game, make sure there's no further damage. So far, has to be said, Costa Rica have looked the better side.
And I'm looking at Dave Sarakin right now, and he's screaming at Fabian Johnson to push higher up the field and to open up the space for either Viafani to step into possession or overlap. But we haven't seen enough from Fabian Johnson going forward. We've seen a couple tidy touches and some good touches in possession, but not enough of a threat going forward. Here's a good opportunity.
Could be a little ring rust for Johnson. Had a lot of action because of injury. Bradley's crossfield ball. Zusi's got forward this time. And that looked like it went behind for the corner to me. Yeah, it did. Now that's protest, but I think he knows in his heart of hearts.
I love this look, though, from Michael Bradley. And I think as this game goes on, you're going to see Graham Zusi maybe take a few more chances going forward. That will allow Pulisic to come in the middle. But Michael Bradley has that quality. That's a corner for me. But he's got that quality to open up the game with that 35, 40-yard ball over the top.
And if the USA are going to get the result they need tonight, it's going to be the hard way. Zusi to swing in this corner kick. Again, one great run from him towards Wood. Just behind him, in all honesty. Here's Gamboa. He's had a curious career in Britain. Went to West Bromwich Albion and hardly got a kick. He's gone to Celtic in Scotland and he's hardly had much of a look in there either.
Are you surprised, though? Because he's not a natural defender, and those two teams you're going to defend first. He's more of an attack-minded wingback, and in those two clubs, that doesn't really suit Gamboa, if you ask me. He's pretty quick, though, and we've seen that a couple times, haven't we? When Ruiz has taken some chances, Gamboa's gotten forward.
I think he's just relishing getting a game of football here, from anything else. Bradley. Nothing doing that time as well. It's important really that the creative types in this US team don't disappear out of the game. Pulisic, Johnson, Nagby, Bradley of course. Urania again, just spinning. Ream. He's claiming he was held. The referee's not going to buy that one. The US denied what looked a very, very good shout for a penalty, remember. Zusi with an instant ball in behind for Altidore. Two men on him. Altidore's done well there, though. Very well. Pulisic on the near post. Pulisic turned it. Waston got the block in. Promising for the US. Darlington Nagby to Jorge Villafania. Wood with the little layoff, cut back towards him, and Navas is able to grab it on the stretch.
Josie getting in behind the back three of Costa Rica, using his strength, getting in behind. Good touch here, but you just love the emergency defending from Kendall Waston. The ball was a little bit behind Pulisic, but that's where Costa Rica is just so difficult to break down. And you get by two of their center backs, but then the third sliding over, covering that space.
Yeah, they're very well organized and marshaled, which isn't to say the defense can't be penetrated. It can. Well, they have only let in 4 goals so far in the Hex campaign. That's 4 goals in 6 matches. 2 of those were away to Mexico. Up towards the goal scorer, Marco Urenia. This is a battle-hardened group. This is the nucleus of the side. In fact, 6 of the starters tonight started that World Cup quarter-final against the Netherlands. And remember, Costa Rica only lost that on penalties. Gamboa. Again looking to get the ball in behind Ream. They've made him work hard. They've obviously looked at it and thought about that tactic, and they've tried it plenty of times already, and not without some success. This FIFA World Cup qualifying brought to you by Sprint. Switch and save today. Visit sprint.com and the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, the new king of the concrete jungle. Here's Pulisic. So many hopes resting on him, those young shoulders. It's another loosish ball out of defence, and away come Costa Rica again with Oviedo. And look at all the red shirts piling forward here. Steven Johnson's back helping out Villafaña. Five minutes from the break. One or two red lights flashing for the USA's World Cup hopes. Zusi to chip one in behind. It's Pulisic again. He scored 3 goals in the Hex already, the youngster. Calvo's ball. Again, Lorraine looking to run at Tim Ream, who plays his football these days in the Championship in England for Fulham. Just giving the ball away a little too carelessly. Costa Rica did win here in a friendly match just a couple of years ago. Joel Campbell, who's injured for this game, was the scorer on that occasion. Is Nagby. Villafaña's going to a good bit of space, just took it maybe a bit wider than he would have wanted really from there. Can the US get the vital equaliser before half-time? These are their latest attempts to do so. Nagby. Wood. Bradley, again from long range. Guzman getting the block in.
See, this is the posture that Costa Rica wants to be in, so you've got to use your wide players, combination play, overlapping runs. You've got to overflow those wide channels, ultimately then opening up the back 4, back 5 of Costa Rica and getting to the end line with a dangerous ball across the front of the goal.
Now Costa Rica, instead of defending 1 point, are defending 3. And they'll love that situation. There have been things for the US, but when the chances have arrived, they've just been rather snatched at. Cameron. It's Pulisic again. Wood, cut out by Gamboa. They're mob-handed back there, the Costa Ricans.
They just defended so many numbers. Pulisic beat the first 2 defenders, but then Gamboa reacts immediately. Waston slides over. I think 2-touch passing and movement is the way you're going to break down Costa Rica, not necessarily 1v1 dribbling and trying to get into the seams. There was a late challenge here on Pulisic.
Yeah. I think they know he's a danger man, and he'll have to get used to that in his career with his mazy dribbles and late runs into the penalty area. Yeah, it's Calvo, isn't it? He's left something on him there. Yeah, I mean, he meant that, didn't he? He's just limping away from that. Because it's up to referees to offer some protection against that kind of treatment. Bradley does take the set piece this time. Navas with an excellent punch despite Cameron's challenge. Let's have a look at the goal again, Taylor.
Yeah, because I think when Tim Howard watches this goal back, he's going to be very critical of himself in two ways. One, when your back four is this high up, Tim Howard could bring this, there's no pressure on Tim Howard. So he could step into that and keep coming and play that ball further up the field, but then also watch the reaction. He comes over, that angle, that is a difficult angle for Arena to put that away. I think when Tim Howard watches back that tape, he'll be disappointed in himself. One, on playing that ball forward, but more importantly, how slow he was to react in his angle on that shot from Mourinho.
Johnny Acosta is the player feeling the latest knock in this feisty battle between the two big CONCACAF rivals. All dressed up and somewhere to go, but they want the night to end in a party mood.
They took that out of your closet?
I've got 10 like that.
You've been here since Monday.
Very soon we're going to get the half-time whistle here. Just a bit more added on for that latest stoppage. Again, the clean sound of defence is not that convincing from the US. And haven't looked to be building from that solid a base. Inside.
But Ian, are you that surprised? I mean, look at the June game in Denver against Trinidad. Trinidad had majority of the chances in the first half. So during this 14-game unbeaten streak, there's been a lot of luck on Bruce Arena's side. And tonight, Costa Rica in the first half, they've done exactly what they wanted to do coming here, making life very difficult for Bruce Arena and his 11.
Marco Urena with the goal, very well taken, and the US jittery at the back and made to pay for that with Arena's run. Nervy times really for Ream and Cameron. That wasn't their finest 45 minutes. Let's go back down to Julie with Bruce Arena, see what he thinks of it.
Thanks so much, Ian. Bruce, down 1-0 at the half. What was the issue in the first 45?
We were very poor in our passing. Had some situations where we had a decent advantage. We couldn't play the right pass at the right time.
I saw you said to DeMarcus Beasley and Clint Dempsey, be ready. What are your plans for the second half?
I haven't decided yet.
Thanks so much. All right, Bob, over to you.
Thank you, Julie. Clearly, Costa Rica the better side. Crisper getting it done. Only once, gentlemen, in 37 prior World Cup qualifiers where the U.S. has trailed at halftime. Only once if they come back to win that match. They need 2 goals. Quick assessment. What do we see?
It's been reactive and not proactive. They're reacting to what Costa Rica's doing. They're not being assertive on the offensive end and forcing the issue with Costa Rica.
You got to win the fight before you can play. U.S. has committed 1 foul in the first half. You got to mix it up physical. Costa Rica's not here to let you just roll over and play. Mix it up physically, take it to them on that side of it, earn the right to play.
Costa Rica winning the second balls, a physical game. The U.S. outscored. They need 2 goals. They need 3 points tonight. And right now they've got a huge 45 minutes ahead of them. We've got highlights and analysis on the other side.